Hi, it's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself, and today I want to do one last video on acceptance and disidentification before I move on to creation. Everybody wants to move on to creation, right? It's the part where we get to walk away from the bad parts, walk away from the sadness, we get to look towards the future, we get to use positive affirmations. In our mind, we get to have the pain and the suffering be over, and we get to only experience this positive identity, the new positive healed version of ourself, the spiritual practices of positive thinking and law of attraction and creating our desired results by using our mind to create what we want. Who wouldn't want to move on to that part? Everybody loves that part. That's the best part. And I want to get to that part too. But it's very important. This is key. This could save your life. This is that important. I want to say it again. You must first understand the concept of acceptance and disidentification before you move on to creation. Because when you get to creation and you're creating your new healed identity and you're creating your new future version, the healed version of yourself, your true self, you're using positive, attraction, law of attraction techniques. You're trying to create the life you want by focusing on what you want and not on what you don't want. When you start to do this, and when you fully immerse yourself into doing this, it feels better. It feels good. People resonate with this. It feels better than where you've been living, which is with the pain. And I get it. That's where we want to go. We want to go to that focus. But there will be no doubt that if you're living with chronic illness, fatigue, pain, symptoms, a disease, mental sort of like anxiety or depression or bipolar or anything like that, any kind of trauma, PTSD, anything like that, there will no doubt come a time when things don't go well. You have a slip back. Things fall apart. Things don't go the way you expected them. You have an off day. You have a bad day. Something happens. The environment changes. You have an argument with somebody. You have a fight with somebody. A symptom reappears, right? Whatever it is, something is going to go not according to plan, not according to the healed version of yourself that you've created. And if you don't understand acceptance and disidentification, you will be crushed, right? And then you will think the law of attraction doesn't work. Creating your new identity doesn't work. How could it work? It's just a bunch of BS. It doesn't work. And so it's so important that you understand these two concepts that I just want to do one more video before we move on. And the point I want to get across to you, the thing that I most want you to understand is that when you're using the law of attraction, when you're creating your future identity, focusing on what you want and creating it into existence, when things go wrong, you must go back to the number one, which is the first step, accepting what is, accepting the situation, accepting what's happening, facing reality, accepting it, and fully loving it anyways. It's an act of self-love to not abandon yourself, to continue to accept and love and be with yourself and approve of yourself and say kind things to yourself, and to fully accept what's going on and not abandon yourself completely 100%. Stand in the face of the fear that you feel as you're slipping down and love yourself through it. This is an act of self-love to fully accept what's happening. And then again, we must step back into disidentification. We must detach from the part of us, the being, the entity of us that is feeling the powerful sensation or thought or emotion that's distressing us, that's causing us to feel hopeless or helpless or fall backwards, or a powerful negative emotion like fear or anger or shame or guilt or abandonment, whatever it is. There's a powerful, or it's a sensation, it's a powerful pain or fatigue or crushing symptom, migraine, illness, whatever it is. You feel the physical sensation, the thought, the chatter in your mind, or the emotion that's arising, which is negative to you, and you must disidentify with that part of you. It's a part of you, and step back. Take a step back and realize it's not you. That is not you. That is not who you are. It's a part that needs to be heard. It needs to be loved. It needs to be seen. It needs to be accepted. And then it needs to be soothed and reminded that it's okay to move forward, even with fear, even with these feelings, even with this emotional distress, that it's okay. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to stop where it is and ask for what it needs before we move on. So the point of this is when you move on to reality creation, when the time comes that something unexpected happens or a negative sensation, emotion, or thought arises, we do need to be accepting. We need to disidentify and detach. And we need to realize that this is a continuum. So we accept, we detach, and then we create. We keep moving forward. The detachment allows us to step back and not ignore, not run from, not turn away from, not pretend this isn't happening, not try to get rid of or stop or a desperate attempt to flee from. It's our opportunity to step back and look objectively at what's happening and learn from it. Learn from what our pain is trying to tell us. Learn from what is trying to show us. Learn from where in our life we're straying off course, where we're going wrong. What's going on in our emotional world? What is going on in our physical world? Do we need to be taking better care of our bodies? Is diet a problem? Is protocol a problem? Is toxicity a problem? Is your relationships a problem? Is your coping strategies and mechanisms, are they becoming a problem? Are you moving too fast, too fast? Or do you feel fear? Do you feel resistance? Like, what is this emotion trying to tell you? We don't want to make it wrong, and we don't want to turn away from it. We want to be patient with it. As much as we want to get back and say, no, this isn't where I am anymore. I want to be creating. I want to be creating my new life and staying only in this and never looking back. That's what we all want. But what we resist persists. So if we don't look back, it will grow louder and bigger and stronger and more forceful, and it will force us eventually to look back at it. So we might as well look back at it when it's whispering, when it's talking, when, it's calling to us, when we have a hint of it, when we see it. So we must remember that this is a process. We create, and as we feel resistance, as we feel powerless, as we feel hopeless, as we feel depressed, as we feel scared or fearful or angry, or as anything arises that's less than positive than we want to feel, we take a breath and we accept, fully accept and immerse ourselves in the fact that this is here and it's here for a reason. And we're going to love ourselves, and we're not going to abandon ourselves. We're going to stay by ourselves. We're going to allow this to teach us something. We disidentify with it. We remember it's not all of us. It's a part of us. It's a part of us here to show us something that is painful to look at, but that we must look at. We learn from it, and then we keep moving forward. We don't stay stuck. We don't stay there. The point of accepting and disidentifying with it is not to stay there and to continue to feel it. It's to learn from it and then to propel us forward into the creation. So the next video is going to talk about reality creation, healing creation, creating health, creating that new healed version of yourself, the self that you want to be, the positive affirmations and the law of attraction, using our mind to focus on what we want, while remembering that just because we're here doesn't mean that in any single breath, in any single moment, we can't be here and here and here. It's a continuum, it's a flow, it's a circle. And the more we do it, it actually feels counterintuitive to stop and keep doing that, but the more we do it, the less eventually we will have to, because our body and our mind will trust us to stop and listen, to be there, to love ourselves, to learn from this, to feel our feelings, to face our emotions. It will trust us to be able to heal ourselves, to work through this ourselves, to cope with this, to understand this, and to really come back into wholeness so that we can continue to move forward. And it's just a circle. We just have to keep doing it until one day we're just living, we're loving, we're laughing, we're feeling great. And this becomes less and less. We less and less have to keep doing this, but we're building trust, right? We are the healer, so we must stop and heal ourselves as we go along. We must love ourselves. We must accept ourselves. We must detach. We must learn. We must see the lessons. We must apply. We must take action. We must move forward. We must do what we must do in order to be better, to feel better, to resonate with higher vibrational energies. So it's all a circle. And I just wanted to do this one more video before we get into this, so that you don't think when bad things arise and when your emotions arise that you're going back to square one. If you have to stop and look at all this pain that's arising again, or the suffering, or whatever is arising again, it's not bad. It's still pushing you forward. You're still moving forward, right? You're on a journey and you're moving forward. We're continually moving forward, as long as you don't move backwards or get stuck. And one of the ways we move backwards is when we reject or resist or disown our very selves, the part of ourselves, the pain part of ourselves, the discomfort part of ourselves, the part of ourselves that's still not quite healed yet. So I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope you really got it. Watch it one more time if you need to before we move on to creating our new identity.